Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of today's guests, including Mark Rogers, standing by. Brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants would like to thank their fans for their support this season at the LEC. Can't wait to welcome them back for 2023-2024. Get your season tickets for next year now at vancouvergiants.com/season tickets. On Friday, Vancouver FC, first-year team, Canadian Premier League Soccer, plays Victoria's Pacific at Willoughby Park in Langley, right next to the LEC, on the LEC grounds.
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken. They're calling it the BC Derby, I believe. Yeah. Vancouver FC has played 7 matches, 1, 2, and 4 so far. They have 16 Canadian players on their roster. It's a new venture, and joining us now, as I mentioned, Mark Rogers, who's the managing director of Vancouver FC. Mark, thanks so much for doing this. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very well, very well. How would you describe your first season so far, Mark?
Well, I mean, considering that 4 months ago we didn't have a stadium, didn't have a full roster of players, a staff, or office space, I think it's been a pretty big success. I think, bearing in mind that we managed to get that home opener as a sellout and created a really good buzz in a city that, like Vancouver, where there's so many other opportunities to go out and do different things. I think it was a fantastic day. Now the onus is on us to continue to grow that.
Okay, Mark, for people who don't know, you're not just a pretty face. Tell us about your soccer background.
Well, I played for Canada back in the day, as you probably know, Don. Yeah. As you know, it's been a long time since you and I sat together in a studio, but those days are way in the rearview mirror. Since then, I got into coaching. I coached at UBC with both the men's and women's teams, coached briefly with the men's national team. And then I got into more of the administrative aspects and the leadership aspects of the game. So this is where you find me now. And I'm super excited to be in this position of leadership as this league starts and continues to grow. I mean, obviously, as we just mentioned, this is our first go-around. But it's an exciting time with how both our male and female teams at the national level are performing, to be a part of the game at this level as we continue to grow it.
Mark, my kids still talk to me about Empire Field, how much they loved seeing games, Whitecaps games, Lions games there, events there. My understanding, and my apologies for not being out yet, but my understanding when it comes to Willoughby Park and the facility that you're using, your team is using right now, if you liked or loved Empire Field, you're going to love what's happening out at Willoughby. Have I got that right?
Absolutely. One of the things, I mean, we got into the stadium the day before our first game, and I remember standing, just a quick story, I stood at a time where I was in the middle of a field in Houston, Texas, and we're about to play the United States national team, and it was a built-for-soccer stadium, and I was talking to Paul Dolan, and Dolan's like, can you believe that we're standing here in a made-for-soccer stadium in Houston, Texas? Now we have a made-for-soccer stadium in Langley, British Columbia. It just shows how far the game's come over the last 3 decades. And it is everything you just described, Donnie. It's intimate, you're close to the action, there's tons of different opportunities to enjoy the experience, not just what's happening on the field, although that's a very high standard itself. There's activations for kids, inflatables, lots of different beer activations. There's tons to do at these games. And I think that's what we're excited about. We have some really good sports organizations in the city, and I want to commend one in particular. I think the Vancouver Canadians do an absolutely brilliant job. And we want to emulate that with soccer. We want to give opportunities for the community to come out at an affordable price and enjoy the day. Enjoy a good level of soccer, get out with their family, allow the kids to roam around, have a good time while they're also enjoying a beer, an affordable beer, and a hot dog, and just enjoy the day out. It's an outdoor venue. The weather so far for all 3 games has been beautiful, and it really is that atmosphere that we're trying to create. And as you mentioned, I thought Empire Field, when it was around, was absolutely brilliant, and this is no different.
Mark, this league is giving young Canadian talent the opportunity to play pro and keeping them in Canada. Are you happy with the young kids coming through the system that are staying and not leaving to go elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, my generation, you had to leave. So,
Yes.
now it's absolutely brilliant that I can sit and talk to guys from my generation, knowing that so countless people have created an environment where young players can stay at home, stay with their families, and continue to develop. I think you guys know one in particular. We have a young kid from Maple Ridge on the team, youngest ever signing in the CPL, who's not just signed for the team. It's not a gimmick. This kid played the first half and was the best player in the game in the first half against Valor this last weekend. And he looks a real talent. And he's not alone. There are a lot of other kids in this city, in the Lower Mainland, in this province, that can also achieve that. There is talent here. They just need the opportunity. And TJ's taken it so far. And I'm really excited about what he's going to give to the game in this province going forward. And, if you get a chance just to come out and watch TJ play, you won't regret it.
That's TJ Tahid, if I got that right, Mark, that name?
Yeah. Maple Ridge kid, Don. Mm-hmm. And, he doesn't just play with technical ability, although he has that in spades. Like most Canadians, we appreciate effort. And he went up against a seasoned professional right back and gave every bit as good as he got. In fact, I give him a lot of credit for getting us back into the game on the weekend. He had an impact on that. And for a kid of his age, it just shows what he can do and what other young players can aspire to. My son plays, he is in the Whitecaps organization. There are other young players that are at these games going, I can do that. And it's a powerful thing, as you know. Without that, it is very difficult for people to discern or understand as a young player, if they're watching a game from England or Italy or Spain. There's so many things that you just don't and will not understand unless you live in a place. We have that now in our backyard. People just simply have to, come out, enjoy the experience, but also bring their kids. Let them, if they're a young aspiring player, let them come and see other young aspiring Canadians play, and they'll realize they're quite good.
And quickly, Mark, you mentioned your son in the Whitecaps organization. What's your relationship like with the Whitecaps? Is there one?
It's fine.
Okay.
Well, we operate in two different leagues, but we operate in the same ecosystem, Don. Mm-hmm. We can't be, it all operates, you have the MLS, you have three teams that participate in Canada that participate in the MLS, but the MLS is an American league. There's no impetus for young Canadian player development within that. Although we've seen young Canadian players go through those MLS squads and do well, our motive is to give young Canadian players opportunities. It's our direction of the league, and we're already seeing the fruits of that. Even at the national team level, where players like Joel Waterman, who came through this league, ended up at the MLS with Montreal, and now is playing in the Canadian men's national team. So and went to a World Cup. So, our focus is purely on what we do. And although we're in a different league in the same city, that is our focus, is to give those type of opportunities to young players.
Rick, we'll get your number off of Ryan. You can expect a call for some free tickets from him in the next few days. Okay, maybe for Friday's game. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. It's been great.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on. Take care.